Welcome. I'm going to do it twice. Every time I look at Addie and try to do the intro, I laugh. I don't know why. Welcome to the 408th episode of the Jami Dulaney Plant-Based Wellness Podcast. My name is Jami Dulaney, and I'm your host. I'm a plant-based cardiologist and endurance athlete living in Southwest Florida. Thank you. I have two great guests today, our registered dietitian, Addie Majnaric, and we have a special guest from our practice, Ann Doescher extraordinaire. So thank you, Ann, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So Ann has been part of our practice, I think, if I went back to 2018, I believe is when you started with us, mainly with Addie, level 1, level 2. We have a couple different levels of the practice. And you were plant-based when you joined the practice, though, were you not?
Just a couple, not even a year. So March of 17, I happened to fall into at a health fest, and it was a vegan health fest, and I wasn't going there. I had no idea that's what it was. I was going there to run a race, my first 10K. Wow. And Dr. McDougall was the lead, and then Jeff AJ was the MC. And I didn't know them at all. I had no idea that so the information was great, and once I heard that, and that was it. Everything changed that night.
So was the 10K part of the Health Fest?
On Sunday morning, they had a 5K and a 10K.
Wow.
They had speakers Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday. And then they had a room where people would have their booths to sell their books or their resources or whatnot. So you got to shop in between the speakers. So it was, and I did not know that's why I was going there, but it was just so much information, so much help. So I just came home with a bucket full of books, and I just had at it. And then one of the fellas was from Louisiana, and so I kind of liked his story and listened to his story. And then you had interviewed him, so that's how I ended up finding you, because I was listening for his story, and then I found your podcast. And then I started asking you questions, because in the meantime, I had been plant-based for probably about 6 months, had a DEXA, and was diagnosed with osteoporosis. Well, I had osteoporosis already, but I had a big decline. Mm-hmm. And so that's when I kind of wanted to get serious about that. And I started kind of emailing you, and then y'all started advertising the online program. And so I said, I'm going to try it for 3 months. I'm going to learn everything I need to know. And I'm still here all these years later. So
we're glad.
I will have a fun fact. And when we switched over to our membership practice, that is when I came on staff, because I just got my license. Ann was our first out-of-state client. Oh, and you may not know this, and I hope this doesn't scare you. You are my second ever patient.
No, I didn't know that, but I mean, I've been in awe of you ever since, so it didn't show, that's for sure.
Well, no, you have been a joy to work with, and it's been so fun, but I had to get that out there because it just hit me. I was like, I don't even think I told the doctor that.
Oh, yeah. That's wonderful.
Yes.
That's what's so nice, that I can be in a different state. It's so nice because it all works. It all works.
We have Interstate 10 surrounded, Louisiana, Florida, and Texas today. So that's good. That's really good. Well, that's really very interesting how you kind of fell in. So you went running to plant-based eating. And we were talking before we started, but you said you started running about age 51.
Yeah, I tried to. I ran a little bit in college, but not much. Just tried it and didn't stick with it. And then just running was about the only thing I've ever done. I played softball as a kid, but I wasn't into sports. So I said, I'll try that first. And of course I walked first. I started walking, and I still remember the day I got a little iPod. That was when iPods were new. At least they were new to me. And then, so you'd have a playlist. And so you'd have songs. And songs average about 3.5, 4 minutes. And I can remember I'd count the songs. Okay, today I'm gonna run for 2 songs. And that's kind of how I built up. And I remember getting to 7 songs and I was so thrilled, so I ran a little bit, but I got to a point where I couldn't get past a 5K, like 3 miles. I was just fatigued. And for some reason, I just couldn't get further. So I was determined to get to a 10K. So I thought if I signed up for a 10K, I would do it. I would do it. Lo and behold, I signed up for a 10K, so I'd end up at this conference. But that was my breakthrough. When I started plant-based, then things started changing for my running, of course, and everything else too.
Mm-hmm. So, Ann, if I could just share a little bit, you shared with us osteoporosis. You had a little bit of reflux, I think, in the at one point too. That was going on, and you're the mother of 6 children and 8 grandchildren. So a busy family life you had for many years. I would guess that Ann was on the back burner.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, it was nothing. I enjoyed it. It was my season in life, and it was fine. It was, children, they're good. They're doing well. You kind of, when you dedicate yourself to that, you kind of put yourself out of a job because they grow up and go on and can take care of themselves. So that's what I had all this time on my hands. So I said, I'm going to start taking care of me now. And still, sometimes it's hard to do, but.
And you run, I've seen pictures, you run with your daughter some.
Well, my daughter is a runner. My daughter and son-in-law are runners. They're Boston. They've done, they're runners. So we've run the same races. But they're out of my league as far as pace and everything else.
Well, I think Ann is actually being very modest. I told her when we started that I stalked her and Addie both on this. There is a website called Athlinks. I'll put it in the show notes if you want to find out if somebody's run a race or if they said, they run all this race at their stock. But Ann, as I stalked you, you've run the North Shore half marathon and the Mississippi Gulf Coast marathon, half marathons numerous times. And you're hanging right in there over the last 10 years. I mean, your times are good and you're steady. So don't be shy. Don't be shy at all.
Well, I truly enjoy it. And the only reason I'm doing it is because of Addie. That's why I've accomplished all of it, because of Addie.
Yeah. Well, that's really, we love seeing your accomplishments as well. And I will give you, you're one of our most positive members of the group too. So we do really appreciate all the positivity you add, not only to the members page, but also to our plant-based runners and striders. So we look forward to seeing, things you post and hearing from you. So it's really, really cool. So you and Addie started working together because of osteoporosis. How did you guys get started to talk about running?
I don't know how we got started. I probably just told you I wanted to run. Addie will ask me sometimes, okay, so what's your goal? And I think we started off with strength training. Mm-hmm. And I got a couple of days, a 3-day strength training program. But I was running, like I was running at the time. So I just maybe decided I wanted to do a half. Mm-hmm. And so Addie wrote up a program.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, you had done the 10K, and definitely, so you joined, and our big focus was the osteoporosis. And I have a background in exercise phys as well as nutrition. And actually my exercise phys thesis was on osteoporosis and sarcopenia in the elderly populations and how to reverse and prevent. And so I was, fresh out of school. So I was just jazzed to work with you. And knew that strength training was just so important, but running also being a weight bearing activity, is also going to be beneficial. And oftentimes folks, when they have that diagnosis, they have this fear put to them for, oh, you're at a greater fall risk, fracture risk, don't move, you're fragile. And that's just not the case. And so, I thought it was quite remarkable because you went from, really, most women, aren't thinking about strength training or thinking about exercising, especially during those child raising years. I think it's becoming more of a norm now. But you kind of just jumped right into it. Like, what do I need to do? And that's just always been your personality with your health. And I'm sure it's been your personality with everything. You know, what do I need to do to be successful here, or help my kids be successful, or help my family be successful? So we put together a program for you strength training wise, and it is recommended 2 to 3 times a week consistently. So that's what we went for. And wanted to definitely supplement your running, and then looking at the areas too that you had that osteoporosis come through on that DEXA. Strengthening those areas, but keeping those areas in mind. And that's kind of how we got started, but also making sure that your diet was supporting your newly active lifestyle, and keeping it balanced. And you had that reflux in the past, and never really any big significant concerns in lab work, but wanted to keep it that way. And kind of it's grown since then, you know, working with family nutrition and talking about that and meals for your whole family. And I think that's so awesome too about your story, Ann, is you may think that, you know, your kids are grown and, you know, out of the house and don't need you, but your choices nutritionally, I think would definitely say have even impacted your family's nutrition. You know, so I mean, your kids are eating more this way. When you are very helpful with your grandkids all the time, you're in their lives and they're seeing you eat healthy, and you know, we talked about healthy snacks for them here and there. You posted holidays plant-based. I mean, you've not just revamped it for you, you've revamped it for everybody. So that's been really incredible to see too.
And were you ever overweight?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I actually lost weight, you know, working with y'all too, but I had gotten to a comfortable weight where I thought everything was okay, you know, but I, you know, have since then, you know, taken off 15 pounds and kept it off. And that's not even, and that, I guess as a child in high school and college, that was a main daily worry, I guess, if that's what you want to call it. And really that the last 5, 6, 7 years, I haven't even thought about, you know, worried about weight as much as, you know, getting better I've had to build, Addie's helped me a lot, build variety. Cause I'm very much, I like my berry bowl, I like my salad. I'm okay. I could do that, eat those 2 or 3 times a day. I'll be fine. But I need some type of structure, but I needed to build more variety. And I'm always wanting to build more variety. And sometimes I slip into the same things, and I'll get that phone call and we'll talk, and that'll inspire me to try to do a little bit better and work on that menu a lot. And she's right that the running was there, but the nutrition has helped me maintain it, grow and do better. I remember the first program that Addie, I remember looking towards like further on, it was like, oh, we're going to do 12 miles on a Sunday. We're going to do 13 miles a day, you know, and I was just, did not think I could ever do it. And then just how do I recover? What do I eat? You know, and just, I just did what she told me to do, what she suggested to do. And that's how I am. Give me the plan and I'll do it, you know? And she's just helped me every step of the way. Anytime I've had a question, she's been able to answer it. And it feels good to wake up feeling good. You know, when, you know, I had such fatigue for so long. And then now I honestly don't need a lot of sleep. I know that you're supposed to get X amount of sleep, but I wake up ready to go, and everyone's still sleeping. So I got to figure out something to do that's quiet, you know, but, you know, I have energy, and, along the way, there was like a menopausal symptom. Addie told me 1 or 2 things to try. I tried the first thing. It cleared up the problem. And, you know, it was like a miracle because I had lived with it for so long. And in 2 or 3 days it was gone. And it was just, I know it wasn't a miracle, but it was like a miracle to me. It was just so, and that's when I was just hooked. Like I just knew that this was the way to go. Obviously, every time I have a DEXA, my doctor wants to put me on the meds. And at first I'm like, oh, maybe I should, but within 2 or 3 days, I realized, no, that's not what I want to do. And I just going to continue, like we are. I'm just going to continue and just keep building.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about one, the DEXA scans, they compare bone structure to, your 20-some-year-old self. So yes, we expect people to have a decline in bone mass. What people don't realize is eating a standard American diet, people have more lost bone mass and muscle mass than people that eat a plant-based diet, but it starts early. It starts in your 30s. So it didn't start at menopause like people just assume, mainly because people don't get DEXA scans until menopause. It's like, oh, you have osteoporosis. So nobody sees the decline over time. And, obviously you're moving around and taking care of a big family. But it wasn't it wasn't enough to maintain the muscle loss of time, most likely the bone loss of time. And if you think about the structure of something, it's really the muscles that hold the skeleton up. We would all our skeletons will fall to the ground without having the muscles to hold it up. So the strength training, building the muscle, provides such a foundation. Not only that, but the balance it provides, that's the key to not losing or having fractures or falling. It's when people become sedentary, they lose muscle mass to the point where they're unsteady, and that becomes, the issue. So yeah, I mean, you're doing fabulous. The strength training, is that something you like? Addie and I argue about strength training a little bit, or she kind of razzes me because I'm one that puts off strength training a little bit. Did you take to it, or was it foreign to you, or is it hard to get going, or you do it because she put it on there and you're accountable to her? How's that work?
It definitely wasn't my funds. I loved running, never did skip running. I could easily make an excuse and I'd be able to work out and do my strength training on a day. Mm-hmm. But I knew, Addie over and over again stressed the point that this is the big key to osteoporosis, keeping those bones strong. And you, even when I had a meeting with you when we went to the conference a couple of years ago, you explained to me, the muscles help hold it all up too. So I knew that the strength training was important, but I think maybe a couple of months ago, I actually told Zach, I'm really kind of liking it now. I feel good after the workout. So I feel good. And I'm trying to build that because I think that is what I've lacked, because I do like running more. And I have tried to add weights when I can. And when I can't, I just go back to what I had, but I'm trying to build the strength training. But no, it wasn't my favorite. It never was. I was kind of a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, I'm finished, and then, but I understand how important it is. So, and just even recently, I think in May, you come out of that, I was deciding, okay, it's season. I just signed up. All the races opened up registration. So, okay, it's running season again. It's time to start training. Okay, I'm going to be consistent. That's my word. I'm going to be consistent. Well, I took out of the gates and started running, and I was going to add runs on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I was going to add this and that. Completely forgot about heart rate. I was just watching pace. And Addie and I were talking about something else. I mean, I think we were talking about our body battery, and then she mentioned something about heart rate, and it just dawned on me, I have not been watching my heart rate. And that has really changed. And that's why I feel like it's so important that if you find somebody to work with, even though I've kind of, it's been years and I've kind of fallen into my nutrition. I think our running schedule, we've been using the same running schedule, same weight training, but to check in that once a month is so important, because I started thinking and I looked back and it was not good what I was doing. So, and then it's changed everything. Like now I'll run 7 miles this morning and I came home and forgot that I had run. Now I'm really feeling what plant-based people talk about, how the recovery and how good you feel afterwards. So it's that's what's important to me, is that I can really I have the time in the morning. I make sure that I have that time set aside. Addie's done the hard work. She's filled everything out. All I have to do is follow it. That's all I have to do. So I have the easy part, and very, very much enjoyable.
So 61 now, almost 62, feeling better than you did at 51.
Oh, absolutely. Better than I did at 31. I mean, I feel better now than I ever have. I feel stronger. And understanding what's going on and how you can fix it or how you can change it. When we went to that conference, I heard Addie's talk about shifting the plate. And I think that was the name of it,
Mm-hmm.
But in essence, everybody's a little different. What works for her. So just jumping on YouTube and jumping on the internet to try to find something that works, in my case, isn't the best thing. So taking my individual needs, she was able to create a plan for me. And I've never felt that. And we have a race so we do a turkey trot on Thanksgiving, and then Gulf Coast comes up in December. And this year I was even going to do the Louisiana marathon, but I'm just running the half of the half. I'm just running 7 because it's real close to the Gulf Coast half. Mm-hmm. But my son ran with me for the first time. He did his first half marathon at the North Shore half a couple of weeks ago. My daughter ran that race, and for the first time, she pushed my youngest grandson, her son, in the stroller. And I have another daughter that ran that one. And then we were keeping my grandsons for the weekend, so they were out there with us. And my husband's always so supportive. He's always there at the end of the race, whatever I need.
He's the perfect Sherpa. Is that?
He even ran with me at times that I'd have to run early in the morning, for the safety factor. He would get out there and run with me. So yeah, he's supported me 100% the whole way. He still does. So
were you a Southern cook?
I kind of catered my menus to what they liked. Mm-hmm. I wasn't the best at the balanced meals and this and that. When you have kids, you're budging when they're young. I wanted to buy things that they would eat. I wanted to fix mm-hmm. things they would eat. And so, it wasn't the healthiest all the time, but, I wasn't ever a great cook. Mm-hmm. I'm a recipe follower. Mm-hmm. So that's what I do. I follow recipe. Mm-hmm. But I had eaters, so I did have to fix meals and big meals. So.
You stretched it out to make it work.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine, doing the 8, cooking for 8, 3 times a day. I mean, that, I can, sometimes I have felt that, for four people that you just get done with breakfast and you're preparing lunch and you're preparing dinner, you can get on that routine. But we're for, 6 kids and, 2 adults, that was, that's a full-time job being the chief cook and bottle washer. Yeah.
But it was fun. And they ate what I fixed. They were all good. Everybody was good about that.
Well, I think we all, I was curious because we all, Addie and I are from West Virginia, and, we certainly ate our share of comfort foods and fried foods and things along that line. And again, I had the same reflux, and I thought that was just because my mom had reflux and her dad had reflux, and that was just part of my heritage was reflux, but it was more the menu than it was the heritage, that was driving it. Took quite some time.
I found the same thing.
Yeah. So it's amazing. Well, good on you. I mean, everything, it's just amazing. And it's so, it makes us so happy to hear that you're doing well. And we, I think that, women, especially of our age or, again, with big families, the fact that, running is just something that people didn't really do, and certainly taking it up later in life, there's not that many people around. So you were kind of your own little village. So Addie, I went back and I stalked you as well, all the way back to the Sarasota half marathons from yesteryear when you were in high school, all the way You have completed the Sarasota Marathon, I think, 2 times, two Georgia half marathons, and you did a ultra, the Dirty Spokes. But before that, your marathon debut was when you got engaged, and I had the pleasure of doing that marathon with her, and that was quite the day. We tried to, the idea was just, finish happy, because Addie and I have had a few runs that, we've not finished quite so happy. And, people, when you get a little tired, things can go awry a little bit. But the idea was like, let's just keep this. We're just going to be happy, and we're going to just take this easy. And we had a fabulous time, and Addie got engaged, and then, wasn't all that long. I guess you did a half marathon in Texas when you all finally moved to Texas. And then I got the pleasure of running with you and Caleb, but Caleb wasn't born yet when you ran the Houston half.
Miami? You forgot Miami.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Did you run the whole in Miami?
No.
Half. You ran half in Miami. That wasn't on there. Wow. They skipped that one. Yeah.
You're not as good of a stalker as you thought.
I guess not. But yeah. So you ran your marathons are all quite. There's a bigger purpose sometimes than just running. It can't be just running a marathon. You got to run a marathon to get engaged. You got to run a marathon to have a baby.
Yeah, the goal for that Houston, I actually, you all had to talk me out of it, because remember, I wanted to do the full pregnant, and everyone was like, let's just rethink this.
Yeah.
I was big and pregnant, so it was a good thing we rethought it.
Yeah, we did have a lot of fun, and
no, it was good. Yeah, there's been several, lots of halves.
Yeah, and then then I got sick, and you and Michael did the Dirty Spoke
Ultra. Yeah.
And so this was your comeback marathon here at the Trailways Marathon a few weeks ago.
Yeah, it was my longest run since baby Caleb entered this world. It was second trail run ever for someone who only has the ability to train on roads. So that was fun.
Third place, third female, and 12th overall. So it wasn't just a little trail run. You actually podiumed. So congrats.
Yeah. Not many people there, but I'll take what I can get.
Lots of people home on the couch.
Yeah. No, it was wild. I had never run a race that small, but also gone to a big race without knowing anyone else running the race. I am directionally challenged. So the day before, I was so anxious on the phone with y'all that I was going to get lost in the woods. That was like my number one fear. I mean, when I went to a new school, college, whatever, I was always nervous I was going to get lost and not make it to class. And that's always my fear. I'm going to get lost and not make it to where I need to be. And I was like, oh, good. I'm going to go in the dark in the middle of the woods in Texas, somewhere that I've never been before. And there's only like 24 other people running with me. This is great. This is awesome. But we made it. We didn't get lost. So
it was great. And you did great. It was hot. It got warm. It was Texas heat.
It got warm. It was awesome though. Like I said, I only had the ability to run on the road. Most of my miles were, we're in the thick of football season here in our family. So we had to figure out how to get the long runs in while Nathan's gone a lot. So it was either on a treadmill or pushing a stroller, all on the road. So those were kind of my terrains, if you will. But the race itself, none of it was on the road. It was all sand like dirt. So loose sand or tall grass, or uphill on like anywhere from a quarter to softball size rocks, continuous rolling hills. I live in flatter than flat Houston. So that was another turn of events there, but it was awesome. In and out of coverage all along this big, beautiful lake in Southwest Texas. And the morning started off wonderful running weather. It did get warmer at the end. I've never imagined I was going to drink that much water out there, but I just got so hot. But my stomach stayed strong the whole time. Never had any issues there. And honestly felt great. But I had trained with a training plan geared toward road running. And so kind of had all these fantasies in mind about a time. Quickly realized when I got out there that a certain time was not the goal, but yet to finish was the goal because it was very hard. And it was mentally challenging, but I told myself going into it, I kind of got into a rut in the middle of my training, and you and I had talked about, I didn't want to be, quote unquote, slow. I wanted to get a certain time. I started holding myself to this standard. And when I first had Caleb, I had some issues, pelvic floor, things like that I wasn't sure when and if I was going to get back to running like I had been before. And when I started back to running, I was just so happy to be out there doing it. And it's like, I kind of had to, you had to slap me through the phone, and then I slapped myself again. That it's like, sometimes you just got to be happy to be out there doing that. And that's not selling yourself short. That's kind of finding joy in the little things, I think. And so I told myself, I was like, I'm going to finish because my mom never doesn't finish, and I'm my mama's daughter. So I'm finishing whether all my hands and knees are upright, and I'm going to smile every mile. And I thought about, so a lot of my training, it's kind of funny. People probably thought I was crazy out there. Like I said, a lot of my training I did pushing Caleb, and he is full blown talking now. And so we see airplanes, we see birds, we're talking, we stop and look at our tree. It's not our tree, but he calls it his tree, and all the things. So I was out there and I felt like I was running with Caleb, and I'd like put my hands out in the air when I saw like a bird or an airplane. I tried to think of how he would be seeing things. And that's just such a, like, get your kids out there and move with you, because they'll make you find joy in all the silly little things, like going to the grocery store or going on a run. They'll let you see the joy in the tiny things. And so that's what I did when I was out there. It wasn't until mile 25 that all of a sudden my legs decided to completely cramp up. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. I literally almost could not take a step. I was like, I have to be able to finish this race. And so I said some pretty big prayers, and I pounded on my legs enough to get those cramps to let loose. And I got going, and then I thought I got lost. I turned back around. I hadn't missed the turn. I did the correct thing. And then I finally got through the end. There was a little bit, and GPS is a little wonky out there on the trail. So who's to say, is it fault myself or them? There was a little bit of extra length added to the race, but that was fun. I completed it. And I was very excited to see my boys at the end, but it was a lot of fun. But I miss my people. Obviously that dang Hurricane Ian threw a wrench into multiple things, not just my tiny little marathon, but we didn't get to be together, but you guys pushed me from across the miles throughout the whole thing. And I was excited to tell you we did it at the end.
Yeah, Addie not only runs with the stroller, she runs with a 90-pound German Shepherd.
I felt naked out there, y'all. I had nothing in my hand.
Yeah. So, I mean, the fact that, she comes back, it's certainly balanced training with the giant stroller, the toddler, and the giant dog. It's when she gets out the door, it's not just going out the door in the morning. She's got an entourage with her. So, and I kept telling you, I said, when you lose 90 pounds of, holding on, you're going to be good. You're going to be flying just running by yourself. So good. I'm glad you did good. So, Ann, what did you fuel with during the race? What did you do? Gels, or did you do anything?
Yes, I finally did the gels. That was a big thing over the last couple of races. I always wanted to do something. I was afraid of my stomach. I was afraid of the reef. So I always wanted to do something more natural, but I finally did use the hummus and the hummus gels, and they worked fine. They're convenient. It was fine. And it was the best, like I said, the best recoveries I've ever had was these the training runs.
Yeah,
so,
what's your favorite flavor?
Well, I heard you talk about not too long ago, but right now the chocolate is very good.
You like the chocolate?
Yeah. But I like them all. I like the lemon. I like the mango peach. I like the blueberry. I like them all so far.
Yeah, I always say, yeah, save the ones you really like for race day, because sometimes that ruins it. And Addie, did you use Huma gels?
Yeah, I did a little combo. I did some Humas, I did some Goose, I did a little bit of Scratch Labs drink mix on my second lap, just because I was sweating so much. But yeah, I did a combo of those. I saved my favorite are the coffee ones. I didn't do any of them in training, so I was just really excited to have one of those when I was out there.
I always think, I like getting my coffee in the morning. So if I do a marathon, I start out with one of those mocha. I don't want them at the end, but if I have a mocha in the beginning, I just say, okay, I'm having my coffee now. No big deal. I've got my coffee. Everything's going to be all right. Just another day. So very, very good. And post-race, Ann, what'd you have?
I always have a berry bowl waiting for me. It's really the parfait from the cookbook. It's just that it's bigger, so it's more volume. So I have it in a bowl, but I always have a berry bowl waiting for me, even after training. That's my favorite go-to is my berry bowl. Lots of fruit.
I think that's amazing. I found that my recovery is much better if I can get that fruit in. I think it's hydrating. The antioxidants, but I noticed a definite difference in recovery with the fruit right after, as opposed to something heavier. So what did your boys have waiting for you, Addie?
I had made some peanut butter and jelly Uncrustables ourselves at home. Fun fact, this is what we did with traveling, and it was actually awesome to take to a race, which was in the middle of nowhere. So I didn't have access to my usual smoothie afterwards, but if you make little Uncrustable PB&Js, put them on a cookie sheet and freeze them, and then put them in like a reusable Ziploc or Tupperware container and take them with you, they will be ready to go at the end of your race or for your children or whoever. And I don't usually ever eat them. So that was something very settling on my stomach, since I had all of that liquid for the very long time that I was outside. And then we had leftover some barbecue tofu I had prepped and brought with us, and some brown rice and veggies and things like that back at the house. So that's kind of what I slowly started to eat, but definitely lighter foods. It was after that my stomach was a little bit wonky, so a little bit more of the carbohydrate side of things. And then a lot of water. I was very dehydrated. Yes, and some fruit as well.
Okay.
Yes.
So, Ann, you say you have a race coming up in December?
Yeah, the Gulf Coast is in December.
And in March, you're coming to Florida, right?
I did sign up. I did register.
You registered for the what's it called?
I did.
Treasure Coast.
If y'all will have me, I would like to come. I wanted to go last year, but I didn't. I just didn't. And I don't know how it's going to go with traveling, because I run all my races are close by. But it would be an honor to run with y'all and to go. So I'm signed up. I'm planning on going. My husband keeps asking me just to make reservations, so he's all for it too. But I want to say that too. I work directly with Addie, so I've spoke a lot about Addie. But I love learning from you, and this is between the podcast, the nutrition class, listening to you, like it. I don't know. I just the newsletters you send out. You really have inspired me. I learned so much from you. I love learning from you too. So between the two of y'all, it's just, you can't go wrong. And then on top of that, the members are posting everything they're doing and their salads, and they're giving me all kind of inspiration too. So I always think about all of y'all when I'm finishing my race, because I'm so grateful that you do what you do, because I have benefited so much from everything.
Well, it's because of you that we have such a good time. It's, when I transitioned my practice, there was a little bit of me that was scared to death, probably more than a little bit, thinking that, I'm going to go from being a cardiologist that saved the day, not really, to, just dealing with people that are healthy, eating plant-based, and there's nothing else to do, and we're just going to sit around talking about recipes and, how bored am I going to be? And that certainly wasn't the case. I have had, it has been, and even when I started out as a cardiologist and went into private practice, I started running pretty quick into when I moved to Florida. Well, that's ended up how I got my exercise in. I realized that I grew up as a golfer, and I thought I was going to be able to golf in Florida, but with a young child and a busy practice, that just wasn't time. So running became an easy way to get exercise. And so running became my outlet. And I always wanted to share the positivity of what I see running with my patients. And I never knew how to bridge that. You go to a race and people are on the sidewalk, or in the woods cheering for strangers, and so happy to see people, and high-fiving. And it's just how life should be. To me, if you're down in the dumps or you don't have any friends, you should just run a marathon because you'll have friends. There's always somebody there. And an ultra is even better because, in the woods, everybody loves everybody because they're afraid not to be lost, So, but it is such a good way to share positivity. And so it's been a pleasure since I've been able to transition the practice that we can have nutrition and exercise and bring all that together. And so it's my loves all coming together. And I'm so pleased that I get to work with Addie. And, she does a good job, and she does most of the newsletter, like 95% of it probably, but
98, but
98. Sometimes I say launch. I'm a contributor.
She's my spell check.
No, and it's true what you say. And the other thing about running too is everybody can line up at the race. They could, from 30-year-olds to 60-year-olds to people who've been running for 10 years to somebody who just started training 6 months. That's what's so nice about it too. Everybody can line up together and everybody can do the race. You don't have to be playing, have been playing since you were 12, it's everybody can go.
One foot in front of the other. You had something you wanted to add there?
No, I was going to add my little, everybody can line up or everybody can shit out of the porta potty like I did because I almost missed the start of the race. That's why I was giggling. I got there a little late, which if you know me, late is to be expected. No, but this has been so good. And it's been so fun is the understatement of the year to work with you, Ann, because like I said, it has just been wonderful to see you benefit, but also your family benefit and hear how you've impacted like your family traditions with eating this way. And you still are the host of family functions. No one's run away from your cooking because we're eating this way. You guys still enjoy quality family time together, and probably even more so because you guys feel good. You're able to chip in and help out with, you tell me all the time about all these things. You're dropping this to go help with this kid or this parent or somebody, and you're healthy enough to do that. So, what a blessing, what a gift that is too. And so it's been really wonderful to be able to see that side of things too, that this is so much more than your labs. This is life. When you feel good, you can do more, and that's just what you do. And it's just, I'm so excited. I didn't realize that we had pulled the plug on the March race. I'm all excited now. I'm going to have to figure out what I'm going to do.
Oh, I'm excited too. I heard it was beautiful. I've never run bridges before either, so
it is beautiful, and it's not a big race. It's a small town. I think Stewart, Florida's, I think their little logo is it's the friendliest place in Florida, or it's a small, I don't know what it, but it
like
is
the friendliest or happiest small town in Florida or something.
Yeah, it's a small town feel, and so it makes it really, really nice. So. No, we enjoy it. The reality of it is so, I think, so inspirational that, we can get people that are in their 50s, 60s, 70s, and even 80s to run. And, we're talking about training and food we love, as opposed to when's your next doctor's visit or what's your medication schedule or when you have to have this done or that done. it's all about enjoying life. And that's really what we're after. You've raised your kids. That was a great time in your life. Certainly I wouldn't change a minute of Addie growing up. But
Right.
you've raised your kids to go off and be successful, and now you want to be able to enjoy a different aspect of your life, participate as a grandmother, be able to run with your grandchildren. And so many people don't have that opportunity, and so many people believe that it's been taken away from them, and it's not possible. And that's the message we want to get out of there. It's like, you don't have to be sick. You don't have to be part of the medical establishment waiting in line for your turn at, the pharmacy or the testing lab or whatever. And the ball is still in your court, and you still have the opportunity to do it. So, you're a shining example of that. And we couldn't be happier to have you as part of the practice and to be able to, again, now we're going to get to run with you.
Yes, I'm excited. Thank you so much. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. I really am.
All right. Addie, you have anything else before we close her down?
No, I don't. I think, just stay, I think just staying in the mile you're in was my motto, the whole thing. And so if you're just getting started, I encourage you to start, for starters. But also just stay in the mile you're in. So if, don't look to the big picture, just give it a shot, no matter what you decide to try. This has been awesome. I was so excited when she's like, would you and Ann like to do a little recap? It's like, yes, let me ask Ann.
I know. I was excited too. Thank y'all so much for having me.
Thank you for sharing your afternoon with me. And I'll give you all a shout out when we get this up.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Take care. We'll call it a roll.
All right. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye. I hope you enjoyed the interviews with Addie and Ann. Again, a lot of positive inspiration, at least motivation for me. It always comes back to you can always do more than you think you can. And it's just a matter of getting out there and try it. Nothing's impossible. Again, I'm going to go back to you're too old not to run. I think it's a great activity for anyone. Certainly improves balance, improves strength, improves bone density and muscle mass. If we're not building, we're losing. So it's important to keep doing something and finding your passion. I'm a huge fan, as everybody knows, of being outside, getting fresh air while moving and doing an activity. But, you can pick your passion. It could be gardening, it can be lifting, dancing, whatever it is that you can do on a regular basis to keep moving and keep active. A lot of people ask, how's my pull-up challenge going? I'm still working on it. So I'm still doing the exercises to build strength to be able to do pull-ups. So getting a little bit more in the middle, a little bit more in the end. That getting started is from a dead hang is still where my challenge is, but I'm keeping after that. I've added a farmer's carry in a little bit on a more regular basis because I think that's good for overall strength to help me get that grip strength as well. Next up for me is the swim run in a week, and then we'll be to the California International Marathon in December, and then we'll spring into ultras. So the training continues. We're cleaning up down here in the Port Charlotte area, Southwest Florida. So debris is being removed. Our power has been restored. Plants are starting to come back. Trees are starting to get their leaves on. So there's a lot of hope around. And wherever you are, I hope you have hope. Hope things are getting better for you if you're in Florida and you're getting things cleaned up. But if you're for wherever you are, continue to have hope that as long as you're breathing, you have a chance to get better, to get stronger, and always do more than you think you can. We're resuming our nutrition classes in the office now that the power is up and the building is safe. And so we're going to start out with a Halloween potluck with healthy desserts, and then we'll be springing into Thanksgiving meals. We like to go over how, the holidays become a challenge for people eating plant-based, especially early on. So we're going to go do a deep dive into how we make Thanksgiving in the Dulaney Majnaric household. things that you can make to put on your table so that you feel like you're having an adequate Thanksgiving celebration. So I'll share some of those with you in the upcoming podcast. But if you want to learn more about our practice and how you can be part of our running healthy family, our wellness family, learn more about plant-based nutrition, go over to drdulaney.com, DOCTORDULANEY. Love to help you on your health journey, whatever it is. And give me an email at Jami@drdulaney.com. You can email Addie, ADDIE @drdulaney.com if you have some interest in wanting some nutrition expertise or running expertise. We have a level 1 with Addie every month. So check that out. There's something for everyone, no matter where you live. We'd love for you to be part of our practice and spread the wellness. Share this podcast with other people so they can find out that you are too young not to run, and there is no age where better nutrition cannot help you. So thanks for listening.